Hello my friends and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. I made a video earlier today with the security guarantees that the West provides to Ukraine. And there's a few of them and I commented on those guarantees. I said I'm going to wait for the Russian response, which I think, and I thought during that video that will have to be swift and probably talk about nuclear war. Well, it didn't disappoint, at least Medvedev. I have here the first article I found about a Russian leader, or one in the leadership, at least position in Russia, commenting about that guarantees, those security guarantees. And it's not far from what I said, but it's very interesting because those guarantees basically divide the world in us and the rest. Us being the club that I was talking about for so many months already. So this article comes from Ukrainska Pravda from September 13, 2022. Medvedev scared by security guarantees for Ukraine. He talks about apocalypse. Okay, it's exactly what I said. These guys are not going to play around. Dmitry Medvedev, deputy chairman of the Security Council of the Russian Federation, has called the recommendations of the Kiev Security Treaty for the strategic partnership of Ukraine and the guarantors states a prologue to World War III. Okay, so quote from Medvedev: the Kiev Kamarilla government has drafted security guarantees which are a prologue to a third world war. Of course, no one will give any guarantees to the Ukrainian Nazis. After all, this is almost the same as applying Article 5 of the North Atlantic Treaty, the Washington Treaty, to Ukraine. For NATO, it's the same shit, only from a side view. That's why it's scary. Details. Medvedev believes that NATO is waging a hybrid war with Russia by supplying weapons to Ukraine. According to him, if pumping Ukraine with weapons continues, then sooner or later the military campaign will go to another level, with unpredictable actions by the opposing sides. Medvedev is afraid that then, quote-unquote, everything will catch fire, and the West, which is, quote-unquote, weakening Russia by proxy, will not be able to sit it out. And I'm quoting, everything will catch fire around them as well. Their people will suffer grief in full. Their earth will literally burn and concrete will melt. That's an atomic bomb, isn't it? We will also suffer a lot. It will be very bad for everyone. After all, it is said, by these three plagues a third of mankind was killed, by the fire and smoke and sulfur coming out of their mouths. Revelation 9:18. Medvedev scared his audience. Background. Andriy Yermak, head of the Office of the President, and Anders Fogh Rasmussen, former Secretary General of NATO, jointly revealed recommendations on security guarantees for Ukraine within the framework of the Kiev Security Compact on September 13. I made a whole video. I read those over there. Very interesting and indeed scary. Leonid Slutsky, the chair of the State Duma Committee on International Affairs of the Russian Federation and leader of the LDPR, Liberal Democratic Party of Russia, called the recommendations on security guarantees published by the President's Office of Ukraine an escalation. He also threatened Ukraine's Western partners with a conflict with nuclear Russia. Well, just read it and see. It's basically, if you touch Ukraine, we will, retaliate with everything we got. And we will support Ukraine with weapons, more weapons, training, troops in the country training the Ukrainians, and everything that needs, all kind of weapons. Now, I don't know. I don't know what to say. This has been talked about since at least 2010. After the 2008 talk in Bucharest NATO summit, when the Americans said that they're considering, NATO said actually, but if you want to look at NATO as USA, that's what it is. And the other ones are just, as I always say, the big shark with little fish flying, swimming around him. This is NATO. United States is a big shark, and the little fish that fly, swim along the sharks, whatever, draft. So it's they got Russia where they want it. There's no room for an multipolar world. It has to be now. Already it was decreed that this club, this is us right here, and we are going to do whatever we want, and in this case is Russia, because a strong Russia or any other country is not allowed. And if I were China or India, I would really pay a lot of attention to how Russia got in this, and they got Taiwan. So Ukraine, Russia, Taiwan, China. And they mention what are the countries in this little club, very clearly in the other video that I made. I read the club is the same. It's very simple. It's three pieces. First one is the slave master, or the United States. Then you have the house servant, which is Great Britain, and then everybody else is the plantation slave cutting the sugar cane. So sometimes France knocked at the door and comes in and joins Great Britain for about 5 minutes to chop some onion, and then goes back on the plantation where it belongs. But other than that, there's nobody else. Everybody else is a bottom feeder, including Great Britain, who they think they're partners. They're not partners. We know Great Britain is just a tool, a little bit more important just because for the Americans. It is what it is. Russia, all they has to do is continue its partnership with China and whatever the second club will come up with, and try to build its strength, economic and military and cooperation in whatever they know. These guys are already way ahead of them, but it's not too late to by number be able to protect their interests. Well, at least it's official. Let's put it this way. It's clear. It is not like, oh, NATO, the defensive alliance, and all this crap that happened from, as I said, 1991. After they were supposed to disintegrate, they didn't. Why? Because it was done because to oppose the Warsaw Pact, right? That disintegrated. These guys didn't. Why? Because they remained the police of this planet, unappointed, self-appointed. But now at least they say it's us, and the rest you gotta listen, because see what we do to Russia. But I don't think Russia is gonna just go in the corner and start crying like a female dog. I think Russia is going to say, okay, you want to play ball, you want to really do it, and probably they're going to use what they have over there, unfortunately. Push them. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.